In Toldot, it's also Yatso Yatsa Mapach Pashta, so that's yet again the two words are separated.
Realizing that the Yatso goes more with the, forget his payers for a second, the Yatso goes with the Shov more than the Vayetze Yatso, right?
That's what Vayetze is. It's going out unwillingly. It's fulfilling, but nonetheless it's fulfilling the command. And what that's leading to is Yatso going out for short distances, so that it could keep looking at the ark. It's emphasizing that the leaving is something that it's dealing with, and it's not getting over the fact of leaving. So we're saying that the leaving is what's in the mind of the Orev. It's thinking about that, and therefore not straying far away where it could no longer see the ark and perhaps not find its way back. Vashov, the Yatso, is leading into the Katon, the note with two dots on it, so it's going to have a double meaning to it. And turning on its mission, it ignored Noah's message and purpose, and turning in the vicinity of the ark, it found floating cadavers, so it did not have to rely on Noah's food only, as pointed out by the bipartite shape of the reading mark. So, again, we've introduced a concept that is perhaps not mentioned by any of the other interpreters, that the cadavers are there as a separate food source, and therefore the Orev is getting its own independence from Noah. So we have the Katon, the double note, saying that it could depend on Noah, but could also look after itself. And perhaps it was given a mission, but not quite fulfilling its mission by really not straying very far away. So again, the double message that we see in the Katon on top of Vashov.
It's interesting. If I had not read these paragraphs, but still trying to understand the meaning of the notes, I would have said that Vayetze, with that particular
Mapach, yeah.
Yeah. So, but with that focused, like the Mapach is focused to a point, I would have said Vayetze, he actually went very goal oriented, like he was immersed in the goal. Yatso, he went out. Vashov, and I would have interpreted as our father did, that it's bipartite, that he returned to his old ways as a predator, as a scavenger. So he returned, not only returned to the ark as Noah's servant or an actor in the miracle, but actually went back to his previous nature. Right.
And certainly we see that implied whenever we see the word shuv, to return. We see that implied that it's not only a physical turning, that it's perhaps an emotional or a spiritual turning that's asked as well. So when Ruth asks the two daughters-in-law, Lech Nashovna, you should go back and you should return and you should return. He's telling them you should go back and return to being Moabite princesses. You should go back to your old religion. So it's not only turn around and go back home. It's turn around and go back to your old ways as well. So certainly that the ayin panim l'Torah, any word in Torah can have multiple interpretations or multiple levels of interpretation, and all of them are correct at the same time, and all of them have different levels of depth or secret implied by them. So I would say that message is there as well. Ad Yevoshet with a mercha. Mercha is not divorced from what comes before it, but mostly is focused towards what's going to come after it. Till dryness of, number 6, it came back only to find a rest on the roof of the ark. Stubbornly, it stayed there till dryness of the surrounding could be observed. it preferred to shiver from the cold winds outside the ark rather than boil within from Noah's discrimination, was shown by the directional shape of the reading mark. So again, because it's a mercha, it's not separated, it brings in something from before it. So we said that part of it having to be forcibly with determinedly sent out was because it was feeling Noah's animosity towards it, and felt that it was being singled out. So it's saying that it's staying outside of Noah's influence by just hanging out on the roof of the ark, where Noah could no longer influence it, and it's waiting for the land to completely dry out, again, rather than submitting. Hamayim with tipcha. This looks back to what's come before it and has a slight pause after it. Therefore, Noah was not supplied with any information by the crow about the conditions of the waters, as expressed by the closing shape of the directional reading mark. So the water stays the same as it was before in Noah's perspective, because he really doesn't gain any information from this scout that he has sent out. And that...
Wait, does Noah know he's on the roof or no?
Sorry?
Does Noah know that the crow's on the roof?
Presumably.
Well, how do we know that? Because
it closes off the concept that the mayim is like it was before. So what does Noah know about the Orev?
No,
it doesn't.
Doesn't really say.
So it doesn't really say. If anything, it says that he might not have known that the Orev was out there.
But
right?
the fact that the Orev doesn't come back would
Mhm.
show that the land is dry. I mean, that's what he sent him out to see if he would. That's the only reason he would come back, right? Like when the Yonah comes back, it's because there's no place to land. He has to come back for food or something, unless he's living off the cadavers.
Well, he is.
But can Noah see that?
But, yeah, what no one knows, we don't know.
I mean, Noah sent him out as a shaliach to find out if the water's dried up.
Right.
So
So
if he doesn't come back.
So if he doesn't come back,
the assumption would be that it did
then
dry up.
Noah
It's not
doesn't
a
know
remedy.
either way. Doesn't know if the land is dry and the bird is able to sustain itself, or doesn't know if the bird just perished
Wow.
somewhere out in the middle of nowhere and there's still water everywhere. So Noah gets no information. The mayim is the same as it was before. That's what a tipcha is telling us. So I would say that Noah probably does not know that it's there on the roof, because he gains no information. The mayim is the same as before.
Wait a minute. Can Noah see out of the ark in the Zohar or not? What did we say about the Chalon? Because if there's a window, you can look out the window.
So
Why do you need an array at all?
this is a chalon teva asher asa. This is something different. This is a window that Noah has made.
Okay.
Okay, so
Presumably so you can see outside and know what's going on.
the question is, how much can he really see? And we don't know. We're not given that answer. Right? So we don't know. We would have to look for a textual source to say what he could see. And certainly the implication of Hamayim with a tipcha, looking back to the way that it was, the water like the water was before, Noah perhaps doesn't have the ability to gain a huge perspective on what's going on by just looking out that orifice, whatever it was. Me'al, from over, with a mercha. This is slightly connected to what was before, but mostly focusing on what's going to come after it. The crow found its sustenance from over the water surface, picking decomposed leftovers, but they were still adequate for its palate, as specified by the directional shape of the reading mark. So it's the Orev is living off of what it can, and it is what is going to lead it forward into its into its future. So it's maintaining itself from there, and that's again something that really none of the other Mefarshim talk about. Haaretz, the earth, with a sof pasuk. Says this will be stabilizing and closing concept. Meanwhile, the condition on the earth remained a mystery to Noach. So again, we see that the mind is staying the same, and the earth, Noach doesn't know about, not being able to get any information nor make any decision. And he makes a comment. The Gemara in Sanhedrin says 3 served in the ark, and all were punished: a dog, a crow, and Cham. The dog became tied down. The crow turned meager. So not giving, I suppose. And Cham was punished by his skin. The dog was originally assigned as a watchman of the ark, although he was representable by his size, making a scaring noise. He did not have enough strength to kill. But the dog abused its position and ignored vassals of the animal kingdom for his arrogant barking. The dog was punished by limitation of his freedom, being chained over his neck since. So
Where are you getting this from?
Yeah, and why is it
So
mentioned?
he's getting this from a Gemara in Sanhedrin, and he's saying that there are things that we see in the world, and why are they that way? You know, why when you have a dog in your yard, do you tie it up? What did the dog do that it deserves to be tied up? And the Gemara is relating them to their behavior on the ark, and saying the dog gets this because it did not fulfill its role on the ark as well as it could have. The crow revolted for being discriminated against and undernourished. Because of that, he left the ark and shivered on the roof rather than face injustice. He still remains meager, skinny, shivering on a tree covered with snow or ice, and does not migrate to warm countries. So the crow is not a migratory bird, and why would a bird do that? And again, we relate it to its behavior at the time of the ark. Ham was assigned for night duty in the ark to supervise the nightlife and the wild animals. He fell asleep on his shift and was punished by the darkness of the night, which was applied to his skin. In Jewish folklore, there's a story about the stork in the ark, and it was stationed next to the compartment of the woman, hence its relationship with the bringing of newborn babies. The stork picked a frog from the water and was caught by the guard. When accused to have violated the law of the ark by destroying another species, his beak became red from shame. In the great confusion, he tried to hide the frog by putting it deep into a vagina of a nearby female. From this time on, the stork has a red beak. Women like a long penis to be hard like a beak, and the vagina has the smell of fish.
No wonder your mother's in the basement and not letting you come into this
This
room.
is the most bizarre.
We'll keep moving on.
Whatever.
Yeah. And associating, this is one of the paragraphs we skipped.
All right. Nonetheless, we see that Haaretz, the land, remains the same as before, and that is how we end the sentence. Vayishalach et ha'arev, vayetze yatso vashov, v'yivosh et hamayim me'al haaretz. And the little pause after hamayim, I think you're hearing it now, and I'm trying to emphasize it. He's telling you the water's like it was before. So again, v'yivosh et hamayim me'al haaretz. The water's there like it was before. Perikhet Pasuk Chat, chapter 8, verse 8. Vayishalach, and he dispatched.
But we're not going back to that whole anecdote?
Gotta go.
I want to, okay. We're not in grade 2 anymore. You don't have to skip it now.
We're off tape.
Oh, you're protecting your younger brothers? Or
Any children?
they have children? No.
Suffice it to say, there are things in the world that we find strange. Why would they be that way? So sometimes there are midrashic sources that explain why those things are.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But for every midrash, there's always the textual. Where's the text? I mean, maybe you have to go back to the Gemara unless you know offhand. What in the text precipitates even like Darshani? Like,
Okay, so why don't we pause the tape and I'll find the page.
Aside from what you're
Happy.
saying that